What's up, barbecue fans? Today we're talking about this guy right here. This is a smoke tube. There's a little bit of controversy around these. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks, talk about fuel, how to light it, some of my guidelines that I've developed over the years when it comes to using one of these, and we're going to just see, is it right for you? So why do we use one of these? Well, first off, it's no secret when it comes to a pellet grill like my Yoder Y640S back here, they put out better smoke between like 160 to 200. 225, still pretty good. As you get up to 250 and 275, the smoke starts to not be as much because we're burning a cleaner fire, right? That's all it is. There's a big fire burning here to get up to those temperatures, so we're producing less smoke. Now, even at 180 for an extended period of time, you're not gonna get as much smoke flavor as something like an offset. Right? That's burning 100% wood fire, big logs, lots of smoke, and continuous smoke flavor going into that meat. But what we do is we look at something like a pellet tube to kind of offset the lack of smoke on a pellet grill and just add some more smoke flavor to it. You can also use these in a Kamado for something like cold smoking. Now, the problem with using them inside of a Kamado is that there's like no air movement in there. So in my opinion, they tend to burn a dirty fire there, and it's not even a fire, it's smoldering, right? But it's a dirty smoke. There's not enough air movement to really make this thing work. So in the case of the Kamado, they have a cold smoker, and what it has is an aquarium that's hooked up to it, and it pumps continuously fresh air to help burn a cleaner, or smolder a cleaner burn, so that way you produce some clean smoke. Inside a pellet grill, right, when I put this guy on the left side of my Yoder, the pellet grill's got all kinds of fans. It's moving around the smoke and the heat, kind of like a convection oven. And what's happening here is we're getting a much cleaner fire. So in my opinion, if you use this in something like a Kamado, you're gonna get a little dirty smoke. You're gonna get an off-putting flavor a little bit. Now you can use it for short, cold smokes like say cheese or something like that, but I wouldn't use it to augment my smoke that I'm using for the wood chunks or anything like that, because I think you're gonna get some poor results. Now, the flip side of that is that I have seen people in the comments and people email me and they're like, hey, I really like smoke flavor, so I put 2 of these in when I smoke. In my opinion, that is way overkill. Yeah, smoke should complement the meat, right? It should not overpower the meat. And I think when you go to 2, you're overpowering the meat, right? That's not how smoked meat is really supposed to taste. So in my opinion, 1 is more than enough. Now here's my rule when it comes to using one of these. I like to use one for up to half of my smoke, right? So if I'm doing ribs and they're gonna be 4 hours, I'm gonna fill this up about halfway and I'm gonna get 2 hours of smoke. Filled up all the way with pellets, it will give me about 4.5 hours of smoke. If I mix in some wood chips, which we'll talk about in a second, it will burn a lot quicker, probably twice as quick if you've got it mixed. And if it's all wood chips, you're gonna burn like almost 70% quicker than just pellets. But if I'm doing a pork butt, right, it's gonna take 8 or 9 hours, I'm gonna do a whole one of these. The only exception I have to the rule is when I do brisket, I like to do 2 smoke tubes back to back. It's going to be a 12-hour cook plus, depending on the size of the brisket. And in my experience, using 2 of these to get your 8 or 9 hours of additional smoke has not had a negative impact at all. In fact, it's made some damn good brisket. Let's talk about fuel here. So you've got 2 things. First off, you gotta use a good quality fuel source, right? Now, if it comes to wood chips, can't go really wrong with straight wood, right? This is just shaved up wood. Can't really mess up wood. Nature created it. When it comes to pellets, however, this is compressed wood, man-made, right? There's what your pellets look like. I have done extensive testing on pellets, and there is a big difference between the bottom cheap kind of pellets to as you move through the lineup. I've tested 9 or 10 brands at this point in time. Bear Mountain's been one of my favorites. I've been using it now for about 2 or 3 years, and I love them. Great product. I use them not just for my smoke tube, but all of my cooks. So in this example, we're using hickory. They've got a whole bunch of different flavors, but I'm going to be doing a cook right after I film this video, and we're going to be using some hickory. So we're already using that. But when you go to use this, if you use pellets, we're gonna get about 4.5 hours of smoke. If you fill this up with wood chips, you're gonna get an hour. If you did a mix, you're probably gonna get about 2 hours. Now, if you use some wood chips in there, you will get an even better smoke flavor. The pellets will give a very good smoke flavor on their own, but if you want to really amp it up a notch, instead of adding 2 of these, mix in some wood chips. You just got to be prepared for the fact that when you do that, it's going to be a quicker burn, so you're going to have to, I would say if you're going to do a mix and we're going to cut that smoke in half to 2 hours, you probably want to do 2 smoke tubes in a cook like a pulled pork, right? I typically will run one with just pellets. That'll give me my 4.5 hours of smoke compared to an 8-hour cook, 9-hour cook. So if you mix them, you're gonna have to go double. The other thing to know about these guys is it's really important to use the right tools to get this lit properly. So there's really only 2 ways to properly start this so you won't have any problems. A regular lighter is not gonna cut it. You really need something with a little bit more power. This is a creme brulee torch. My wife's favorite dessert is creme brulee, so of course, as a good husband, I had to learn how to make that. So I have one of these around. This will work if you've already got one of these just fine. Puts out a fair amount of heat and flame, although you can't see it because it's light outside right now. The challenge with something like this is that you've got to keep refilling it with butane. Not difficult, just kind of a pain in the butt if you're going to use it for a lot of lighting of a smoke tube. So in my opinion, what I like to use is just a plumber's torch like this. I always get the yellow tank. You can get the blue one as well. The yellow is a little hotter, and I'll use this to light it up. This lights a lot quicker and burns a lot hotter, so you just get it going much faster. Here's the secret though. When you light this guy, you've got to let an open flame burn for a good minute or 2. If you're lighting it and you move away from it and the flame goes out, it's not burning enough. So let's pack this guy up and we'll show you. I'm actually, typically what I'll do, I've already got some Bear Mountain hickory pellets in here, so I will go over here to my hopper and I'll just fill in this guy like so. Now the cook I'm doing, I don't need much more than an hour of smoke, but I'm gonna fill it up, not quite, about halfway, all right? If it burns a little bit more, it's not the end of the world. The other thing I like about something like this is that now I can get deep down inside when I do a smaller batch. But we'll bring this over here, we'll get this guy lit. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, probably 30 seconds to a minute with this torch, maybe a little longer with the creme brulee torch, but I try and get a whole bunch of the front pellets, all of them going at once. And now you can see that I've got a big open flame burning, and when I walk away with the flame and it will burn on its own, right? The smoke, when you first do it, if you don't light it enough, what'll happen is the smoke that's coming off here will just put out the flame. This way we're burning clean, no problems, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let that go for about a minute, maybe 2. So it's been about a minute and a half. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blow this out. Oh, I got some in the front. I'm gonna condense them first. You're gonna want some gloves like these, high heat gloves, because you're gonna wanna take it out later. Make sure that they're all touching each other now. And there's our smoke. It's gonna roll across and out our stack and add some nice smoke flavor to whatever we're cooking. Now, if you've tried a smoke tube and you have a flame out, that simply means you did not light it long enough. Make sure you've got a good heat source, creme brulee lighter at a minimum to get it going, and then let it burn for a minute or 2, and it will keep going the entire time. You're gonna, again, these gloves, I get them off of Amazon. I'll put a link down below. They're high heat gloves. You can, if you're doing something like a brisket and you want to fill it up twice, it's gonna be hot, so get one of these, refill it, relight it, and away you go. And that's really all there is to it. If you have a flame out in your smoke tube, that means you didn't light it long enough, right? So let it light, get that flame, let it burn for a minute or 2, and then blow it out and close your lid, and it will keep going every single time. In my opinion, is a smoke tube worth it? Yes. I've been using one for 4 or 5 years. The big thing here now is that you can't overdo it, and that's why I came up with my rule of 50% of the cook. I'll use a pellet tube. Beyond that, I think you kind of overdo it, and that's when you run into a smoky taste that's a little bit bitter and not really enjoyable because you've over smoked your meat. So if you want to get a little bit more smoke at your pellet grill, here's the secret. The pellet tube is only about 20 bucks. I'll put a link to one below. You don't Doesn't matter which one you use, they're all the same. This one I think is an amazing smoke tube. I don't know if they're around anymore. There's a whole bunch of copycats out there, but check out Amazon. They're 20 bucks and it's money well spent. You can get some wood chips, you can play with some pellets, whatever you want to do. But let me know in the comments below how long you've been using a smoke tube for and what your favorite thing is to do. Do you like pellets? Do you like wood chips? Do you use a mixture? And feedback will be helpful for me. If you got some value out of this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you soon.